Good evening and welcome to TGP2 Season 26 here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. The championship continues on as always with a very intriguing title fight starting to shape out. I'm here tonight with Dan the Man, yesterday's TGP1 race winner from the Canadian Grand Prix, and we're here currently in the qualifying stages of the Austrian GP with Alistair Bain currently on pole on a 1 minute 3.8. Jack Pearson, Camo Babbo, Mike Noon and Dom Smith very close, close together, but a couple temps behind on each other as we come to the last stages qualifying.
I think, sorry John, I think Jordan's about to possibly take pole, yeah, look at that.
And yes he does, that's a very quick lap, a 1 minute 3.5.
Great lap.
And Dom just took himself up to P3 as well, so Dom looking very good, chasing his 30th TGP2 victory here today. He might have paid me a little bit to get that mentioned, he might not have, but Dom in good form here at Austria. Always been a strong circuit for him, numerous wins in TGP here in the past. And we'll give you a quick rundown of the championship standings then. So Camo Babbo and the McLaren current championship leader on 156 points, with Jordan just 15 points behind, and Alistair, winner of the last two races, just a point behind Jordan in third. We then have Owen, who's also just a point behind Alistair in fourth, ahead of Jack Pearson, Mike Noon and Smokey Jays. Mike and Smokey both having a win each this season, but Jack in the outskirts of the championship battle, but yet to actually win a race, as Mike Noon just runs on there at turn 3 on a slowdown lap by the looks of it. We'll have a look at Alistair. Yep, Alistair looks like he's invalidated his lap. We're just about to go on board with him. A lot of cars coming in now, Austria being the very short circuit. Alistair goes for a spin. Does he keep it at the wall? Just clips the wall and gets a little bit of damage there.
That's really weird because Jordan just done the exact same thing at the same corner as he was coming back into the pit lane. Almost like there's some oil down there or something.
Yeah, very peculiar to see a car spin off like that in that corner, especially on a slowdown lap. But Renault will hastily fix that front wing and get him out in time for the final run. We'll go on board with Jack Pearson just coming out the pits. He's currently P5 and behind his teammate, which he won't want. He'll want to manage to jump up to the front row and preferably pole, but Jack definitely looking for a race win. He's crossed the line first already this season in Spain, but of course had a time penalty that cost him by 29 thousandths of a second. And
Bahrain as well, he crossed the line first and had a penalty.
So this season hasn't been too kind for him so far. He feels like he might be owed a win or two, and he'll be looking to get one of those tonight at the very least, as he shapes up for an outlap, for a flying lap rather, as he just lets Blair Grills go by, who's also on an outlap. But we're just coming towards the final runs of qualifying then. A number of guys in the pits, some of them gone out a bit early. Austria being such a short track, only a minute 3. It does give enough time for 4 runs, where at most circuits you probably get 3, and on some of the longer ones maybe even just the 2. But here we are then with Jack coming down towards turn 1, breaks the 50 meter board. Got to make sure not to run over the exit curbs too much, for that's invalidating your lap. You're straight on the DRS then, coming towards top speed, round the non-existent turn 2 and then turn 3. Got to hit that apex, get it straightened up on the exit, don't let the car slide about, then you're on the DRS again, down the hill towards turn 4. It's down, obviously it's a downhill corner, very easy to brake a bit too late and overshoot, but Jack does pretty well there. Just missed the apex a little bit, but it's a nice and tidy exit as he comes towards turn 5 and 6. Only 9 corners here on this Austrian circuit. Turn 5, it's long, you wait for the throttle and then you cut down towards turn 6. Very easy just to run it a little wide in exit there over those curves. That can invalidate. Jack looking purple in sector 2, and then we come towards the final 2 corners, turns 8 and 9. Very easy to run wide in the middle there and invalidate a lap, but Jack looks to have done it well, but he invalidates up the final corner, and it was a lap that would have just sent him 10 thousandths off pole. He set a 103.522, but it is not going to stand due to exceeding track limits on the final corner. We now have a number of cars on their final runs. We've got Camo Babbo here, who's going to be held up.
Getting held up.
I think we had a Toro Rosso go off there by the looks of it, or Williams. I think it's a Williams, sorry. That's an awful onboard camera. I'll go back to that one. But Camo Babo probably heavily compromised there by the Williams having a moment as he crossed the line, and he did lose a quarter of a second on his previous best, so he'd want to try and save the ERS maybe for one final run. I think he's got just enough time to make it. Meanwhile, Basic Field are out in their final runs. Jack's backed off. Dom, let's have a go on board with him, the Mercedes driver, the Manx man, definitely wanting to get up to the front today. One of his favourite circuits.
They're all gonna be crossing the line very close together here. They've all left it obviously right towards the end of the session, and it's going to be a frantic finish across the line, John.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just see if that's Mike in front. He's actually invalidated. He's going to be rushing to get back to line in time, which he should. But here's Alistair as well, P3.
Oh, and Owen's gone off.
Owen's off on the exit of turn 1. I think he's backed that one off, to be fair. I think he's invalidated turn 1.
Retired, yeah.
Alistair, winner of the last 2 races, looking to make it a hat-trick today here in Austria, comes towards the line, has a little bit of slipstream, puts in P3 is a minor improvement, but not enough. Dom coming towards the line now. He looks like he's backed it off. Is also backed off in P4. Mike's retired from the session. The checkered flag is out. Jordan looks good for pole. He's actually just ahead of the cars that we were focusing on, and he looks to be pushing. He might actually have it in the bag, but a number of guys behind look like they've backed off. Alistair's backed off on these ERS. Camo Babo
Jack Pearson's still pushing. Jack Pearson's gone for one more lap. He's gone purple again in sector 2. He's only 2 tenths up on his current fastest lappers. It might not trouble pole, but hopefully he won't invalidate in this final couple of corners.
Here we are then at the final 2 corners. He's got to get this tidy. He can't run over the outside curb. He does a good job of it. It's a little bit sluggish though. Makes it to the line. What's he do? A minor improvement, but no position gain. Out qualified by his teammate Dom Smith. Disappointing one for Jack there, as Jordan backs off and enters the pits. Camo Babo is backed off. Alistair's backed off. I think that will conclude qualifying then at the Austrian Grand Prix. Your pole man on your screen now, SWFC Jordan in the AlphaTauri, and he will be looking to catch up to Camo Babo, the gap being 15 points at the top. If they finish where they've just qualified, that gap will be down to 3. So I think Jordan will be delighted with that.
Yeah, the grid is a very good grid for this race. We've got Camo Babo obviously in 4th, championship leader. He's going to have to fight his way through the field, well, through the free driver's head if he wants to have another solid result. But Jordan, Alistair, Owen, they're all chasing down the McLaren driver, aren't they, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Camo Babo.
Owen will be pretty disappointed again, I think, with that though.
Yeah, I mean, quite a way down. I think the track limits in Austria are very, very strict. Very easy to just catch the curb and instantly invalidate your lap. But here's the rundown of the grid then. We've got Jordan on pole in the AlphaTauri, just a 10.5 ahead of Mike Noon, a superb second for him. He'll be looking for a second win of the season. Ahead of Alistair, winner of the last 2 races, wanting to make it a hat-trick. Then he got the championship leader in 4th, Camo Babo, a strong qualifying for Dom Smith in 5th. Then he got Jack Pearson in 6th, Owen in 7th, Bazza in 8th in the lead Red Bull. A return to Jacko in TGP2 in 9th. Then he got Blair Grills, Sayer Sports, Nell Jack, Angel First is Death, Red Bull Kim, Sir Tom Penguin, and I believe there were a couple others there, which I sadly just missed at the end, but we'll be ready for the race now, and you'll see that flash up before the race starts, who the last 2 were. I believe it was Indecisive at the very back, and it might have been Angel First is Death potentially. I think I did say him no, but we'll see anyway as we prepare for the race. So who's your favourite for this one then, Dan?
Well, I mean, I think the one to watch really is obviously Jordan on the pole, and Mike Noon, who's had such good starts throughout the season. If he can get a good start here, he could easily get straight into the lead as we start. Quick hello to Jacko as well, of course, who's making his TGP return today.
Back again in the Red Bull. Jacko, a long time attendee of the TGP series, has been around since the very early days of TGP2, and he'll be glad to be back, and hopefully a strong result for him today as the race is about to begin. So the lights are up then. We've got 5 lights, and we're away. There's a strong start there from Mike as well as Jordan, but Jordan will hold on to the lead into turn 1. Mike will have a look at the inside. We can't really do anything about it. We've got Alistair going around the outside of Camo Babo. We've got a Red Bull off. We've got a Mercedes off at the back. And that is Dom Smith, I'm afraid. That's
it's a disaster for Mercedes. Jack had a terrible start as well, but Dom's spun round and Mike's going for the lead.
Oh, it's very close to that third corner. I think Alistair's just caught the back of the Ferrari, but they're side by side now towards turn 4. You got Jordan in the AlphaTauri, Mike in the Ferrari. Mike's going to have a look at the inside. Can he make it stick? Forces the issue. He's going to push Jordan out just a little bit wide, but he makes the move. Mike Noon takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix for Ferrari. Jordan down a second. Alistair in third. Camo Babo championship leader in fourth. Owens had a decent start, gained a place or two. Jack obviously down to sixth. Joe Serra up in seventh, and then Jack went eighth. That was a very, very close start of the race there, Dan.
It was a disaster for Mercedes. I mean, Dom had a brilliant start as well, and then just got caught in the action of turn 1. Jack had a very poor start, but because of all the incidents, hasn't actually lost any position and gained any either. Though Mike Noon, we said he was good starts, and there he is leading the way.
Indeed, and he'll be looking to break that gap at the front. It's already up to about half a second, but Jordan looks to be on the overtake while Mike is not, and he's closed that gap down very quickly, but he won't catch up in time into this third corner. Looks like Dom's going to come in early for a pit stop. He did have damage on the Mercedes. He'll be hoping for a safety car to allow him to catch up.
And it's Alan going for the championship lead. The Camo Babo for fourth place. Could he go around the outside here? Surely not. Well, he might do. This is very Albon Hamilton. He's going to have a run into turn 5. Now they're going to be side by side all the way through.
Unlike Albon and Hamilton, it's a very clean move, and Owen makes it stick on the inside and takes fourth position. Good move by him. He's looking very punchy early on in this Grand Prix in the Racing Point.
Crucial move ahead of the championship leader then. So right now we have Jordan, Alistair and Owen all ahead of Camo Babo in the lead of the championship. Those three who are really trying to chase him down are all ahead at this stage.
It's brilliant for the championship. It allows it all to close right up at the front. We've got yellow flag in sector 3. It looks like we've got a car off at the last corner.
Sir Tom Penguin, I think. Yeah, he spun at the final corner.
Yep, as he recovers at the Alfa Romeo. The sole Alfa Romeo today. No appearance for Dormat tonight. He's unable to make it.
Alistair.
Oh, very close. Sorry, just missed the end of it, but it looks like Alistair made a move on Jordan in second, and I think he managed to get Danny inside of Mike for a moment, but he's backed it off. He's back to P3, and Jordan having a look now at Mike in P in the lead.
Oh, look at Owen going for Camo Babo again. Oh, he's gone off slightly, and that might cause a bit of damage to his leg. Jose sneak through. Camo Babo got back past Owen. Owen wanted to get that immediately straight back. Then they nearly come together, and it allowed Joe to sneak through. And they're almost touching now, going into the start of the final sector. So close, so dangerous.
Camo Babo losing 2 places then, down to 7th, and Jacko on his return is having a look at the back of the McLaren there, looking very racy on his first race of the season. The Red Bull running a bit wide at the last corner. Hopefully no penalty for him, which there is not.
Look at the top row, look at Alistair going for the lead, nearly 3 abreast going into the lead, going into turn 1. And Alistair runs wide, which is going to let Mike move back ahead. They're going to be side by side, go down into the next breaking point.
So much happening at once, I can't really keep up. But here we are then, Mike Danny inside of Alistair. Alistair's gone from third to first. Mike holds it around the outside into the corner, keeps the lead, but now we have the DRS, and we look back to the Ferrari going to the inside. Is Jordan going to have a look as well?
Brilliant.
We've got a very nice onboard camera of Alistair, but there we are then. Mike back down the inside with Alistair, side by side again. We've got the yellow flag out at the top of turn 3. It looks like there's a Williams round. Mike still holding it round the outside. Surely not. He does. What a move there for the Ferrari to retake the lead of the race. That was brilliant side by side stuff. Nice and clean as well. No contact. Very well played, boys. Keep it clean. That's what we like to see there.
Absolutely brilliant driving from all of them. And Alistair's going to... Well, look at this. Alistair's right on him again. And once again into turn 1, it's like a repeat of the last lap. He's going to go for it again.
Yep, down the inside into turn 1. It takes the lead. Is Mike done that knowing he'll get DRS?
No. Alistair still keeps the DRS. And so, well, this might give him a chance to pull away, I suppose. Camo Babo, has he spun? Camo Babo has spun! The championship leader has spun!
And yep, he's off at turn 1. That's a disaster for him. Has he got any damage, do we know, at all? We will find out shortly for you.
Damage, but this is what a huge opportunity this is now for, well, basically everyone.
And now the Red Bulls are going together. It looks like Baz has just made a move on Jacko for P9. Blair Grills has gone up as well. Jack's now up to 7th position as well. So the racing points in the top 7, both of them. Joe in 6th, we've got Owen in 5th, struggling to keep up with Jack, who's made his way up to 4th and is now catching the back of Jordan. So this could get very interesting between the top 4 here, as we now go to the end of lap 5 onto lap 6. Jack running a bit wide there. That's going to hold him up a bit. Alistair sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 6.2. 1 minute 6.624, sorry. And here we are again then.
I mean, there's obviously a long way to go in this race, but right now, if there was to stay like this, it will be incredibly close in the championship. But it is Mike Noon going back for the lead. Mike Noon as well, of course, who is on 104 points, so still quite a way back from Cameron Babbo, but he's still in the championship, isn't he? It's only the halfway stage of the season.
Oh, absolutely. It was only half. It's only halfway through.
Another McLaren is off.
But Mike's standing inside.
What's he doing? Oh.
And he's run wide. Alistair takes the lead again. Sorry to cut back in on you there, but Mike made a move into turn 4 on Alistair. Got Danny inside, but he just couldn't get the car stopped, and Alistair retakes the lead as quickly as he lost it.
Oh, and Jack's off. Jack's lost it. Oh, he was in 4th place. He just got a bit of a snap on, and oh, he can't recover. He's going to fall right to the back now, surely.
This is a day to forget for the Mercedes.
There we go again, side by side for the lead.
You just can't keep up in this race, there's just so much going on. Mike holds firm into the first corner, but now Jordan's going to have a run on them both as well. Who's on the back of them? I did spot Jack. I thought I saw the Mercedes going a bit wide out the corner. Jack's also got a speeding penalty.
Alistair's back ahead. Is he going to get round to the outside? He is. He is. Jordan might sense the opportunity, but didn't decide to go for it. He will have DRS now, though.
Mike having a look again, down inside. Does he think about it? He thinks against it this time. He's going to line himself up to have a run down the main straight to see if he can retake the lead off the Renault. Also, pit window is coming up as well. We're already on lap 7 of 18 here at the Austrian Grand Prix. And it'd be interesting to see what the front 3 will do when it comes to the pit stops. Do they all come in together, or will they go at different times to undercut or overcut each other? On board with Jordan there in P3. Alistair. We've got a Ferrari, and that's Mike. And Alistair gets a penalty, as does Owen. Of course, penalty is going to be crucial in this race. Very easy to run wide to get warnings here at this circuit. Probably one of the toughest 4 track limits on the game. And Mike and Owen now in the pits, both got to go on to medium tyres. Jacko also in from 9th.
And these two are going to be battling for the lead now. So this is going to allow Owen and Mike a great chance to catch up on his outlap. Side by side for the lead once again. Jordan takes the lead now. Alistair's down into 2nd place, but these two really shouldn't be spending too much time battling because they'll just lose so much time.
Yep, and Mike has got 6 seconds worth of clear air to the car in front on his outlap, so he's going to be able to stretch his legs a little bit and just go for it. That could be a crucial decision by Ferrari. Not always the best for strategy decision making, as we've seen in real life, but they might have called this one right this time. Meanwhile, Jordan just put it a little bit away in the middle sector, so maybe he's running a little more wing just for that part of the track. But Alistair closing in a little bit down the straight and decides to pit. Jordan stays out.
Alistair comes in. Jordan staying out. Wow. Okay. Well, Jordan, his tyres must be pretty shods at this point. But let's see then. Saya Sport also coming in, who's running a great third place, and hopefully will not disconnect tonight like he did last week when he was in a strong position in France.
Alistair and then medium tyres fitted on the Renault. Goes nicely with the car in terms of colours, but where's Mike? He's coming down the main straight now. On board with Mike as he comes towards turn 1. Is he going to get Alistair? There's Alistair there on the right. They're going to be very close, but I think Mike's just going to do it. And he does indeed.
He does. He does just keep the lead. Then there's Joe coming out the pits as well. Owen is, of course, back ahead now of Joe. Dom has been given a penalty. What a terrible race this has turned into to Dom. His favourite track, one of his favourite tracks. Camo Babbo in the pits now as well.
Camo Babbo out of the pit. Well, points goes down a little further in TGP2, so I think he's just on the edge of the points as it stands, as is Dom. Meanwhile, it looks like Mr. John's left. Oh no, that's a back marker car, sorry, apologies. That's indecisive Mackie. I was about to say it looked like Mr. John had disappeared from the session, but it's a Williams in front, not an AlphaTauri. Jordan now pits for the lead. Now, the gap between him and Mike is 16.3 seconds. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more than that, considering Jordan had to come in and pit. But this is a crucial moment for the race. Will he come out ahead of Mike or just behind?
What's John doing? John on the medium tyres is pitting, and they're both for the same team. AlphaTauri's gonna have to queue, I think. But anyway, here comes Jordan out the pit lane.
Mike, having just set the fastest lap, will take the lead. Alistair jumps Jordan. It was definitely the right decision to undercut, and Mike's made the perfect call to actually break the DRS as well, so they've spread out a little bit across the pit stops. Mike leads Alistair, Jordan and Owen, but of course there's penalties included which people have to look out for, and Mike...
I'll have a check of the penalties in a minute.
Mike, I think, does have a 3-second penalty for track limits. So this could all change.
Got 2 penalties. I think he's got 2 penalties.
And it's going to make it very interesting. Owen's normally very good for not picking up penalties, but I think even he's got one at the moment. With the amount of penalties, could we be looking at the wrong Ferrari on the podium? Because I don't think Joe's got one. He's only 7 seconds back.
Yeah, it's a good point, but I think Jordan is in a great place at the minute to win this race. This is beginning to remind me a little bit of the Canada race yesterday when I was in 3rd place without a penalty and 2 cars ahead had one. If Jordan could stay within that kind of range, he could take the win here.
Yeah, the gap at the moment is 3.053. That's coming down, of course, down the straight as Jordan activates his ERS overtake. So it's going to be a race of fine margins, you have to say. The track limits, the penalties, it's all going to get very, very close towards the end, that's for sure. But Mike is stretching that lead over Austria a little bit on since the stops. He's pushed it out to 1.7. The Ferrari is in fine form today.
Yeah, well, I think at the minute, I believe Mike has 2 penalties, so probably 6 seconds. Alistair has 1, Jordan has none. So right now, you'd be looking at a Jordan win, Alistair 2nd, and Mike Noonan 3rd. At the minute.
We're basically watching it in reverse then from what it actually is. Yeah. Mike leads on track for now, but of course penalties could have a swing on it. Jordan is also closer to the back of Alistair. I think Alistair's struggling for pace on this set of mediums.
Sorry, John. So Tom Penguin went for a bold attempt at a move on Angel versus Death, and he's gone straight off into the gravel at turn 4.
Thankfully,
he's back on track.
Yeah, thankfully for him, no damage to the car. The last car at the pit has now come in, which is Red Bull Kim, who was up in 8th position.
Well, Dom's come in again. This is the 2nd stop of the race, isn't it? One
Yeah,
terrible
indeed it
race.
is.
Oh, that is so frustrating for Dom.
Yeah, off at the first corner. We didn't see what caused it. We just saw the Mercedes spin off in the background, and that was a promising race ruined for Dom Smith. Down in 15th place now, having just is now exiting the pits. I think he might actually come out in 16th, but Dom will be looking for the fastest lap and hopefully getting himself through some of the back markers towards the points. Mike still leads a 2.5 over Alistair, but Jordan is the one to watch now in the DRS of Alistair in P2. Jordan definitely wanting to close the gap on Carababo down in P9, so for the championship this is a brilliant opportunity for the 3 that are close to him in the championship. But currently, on track at least, the leader's Mike Noon, an outsider, but with a performance and pace like this, there's every chance he can make up that difference and get himself in the fight. We've got a Williams going slowly on the main straight, but he's just letting a few of the lap cars a lap ahead through rather. But Jordan closing in now, but not quite close enough on this straight.
I think it's worth saying that if it stays like this and Jordan does take this win and Carababo sort of still stuck in around 9th, look, I'm pretty sure Jordan will take the lead of this World Championship.
And that, I think, will be music to Jordan's ears if the order stays as it is and the penalties applied occur. Obviously, there's still just over 5 laps, so anything can still happen. And as Murray Walker famously said once, it usually does. 5 laps to go then. We've got yellow flags again in sector 2, but we're indecisive again. Just letting cars out of the way, I think. It's not been a great race for him. But Jordan right on the back of Alistair now. Alistair hasn't got the DRS to defend himself, so we'll see what...
This isn't necessarily a crucial, must get done overtake for Jordan, but he gets through anyway.
And he's got it done. Up to P2. Jordan, well, he'll want to chase down Mike anyway. He might not know that Mike's got a penalty. Or he might. That's
true.
But
that's true.
It is possible to get in the game to get your race engineer to tell you if the car in front has a penalty or not. Not always been the case on F1 games, as Dom picks up another penalty. A wretched race for him.
And Cameron Babbo gets into 8th place ahead of Jack Pearson as he tries to get his way through the field. Look, Mr. John might be on Jack Pearson in a minute, but Mr. John, by the way, just to go back to what happened earlier, he came in the same lap as Jordan and then was forced to queue, and he started on the medium tyres as well, so he's got to do pretty much the entire second half of this race on the softs. Such a shame because he was running in a really strong position and then lost obviously a lot of time in the pits.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, an unfortunate situation. Obviously, the double stack on this game is nothing like in real life. You can lose a lot of time. I think some people say it's as much as like 15 seconds or so, as Mr. John now picks up a penalty, which is unfortunate for him. But we're going to go back towards the front. We've got Jack running well in P6. He's been flying under the radar a little bit in this race, but he's done a good job. P in 6th position, just a second and a half behind Joe. He'll be wanting to catch the back of the Ferrari and back up his teammate Owen with a double top 5 for the Racing Point team. Meanwhile, Dom making his way through the field, down in 14th. He's on the back of Angel versus Death. Dom has just set the fastest lap of the race as well, I can tell you. Just a lap before just a lap before the previous one. But he'll be looking at the back of that Williams to see if he could take 13th position on fresh soft tyres.
Sorry, John. Jordan almost lost it at the final corner there, but it's all good. It's all good. 3 laps to go.
Penalty for Jack, 3 seconds. It's such a tricky circuit for the track limits. You see it a lot in real life at F1 as well. A lot of drivers losing times for running wide out of turn 9, for example, the final corner. Very, very easy to do. Jordan looks like he's just sitting contently in 2nd position. He's out of the DRS zone from Alistair, so he won't be attacked from behind, but he's not going to be attacking ahead either because he can't really catch Mike.
I mean, of course, it's not just, it's not 2nd position, well, it's 2nd position on the road, of course, but this will be the win for Jordan, won't it? If things stay like this. As long as he doesn't pick up a penalty, of course.
Which could possibly happen. We know what this circuit can be like. Meanwhile, Dom on the back of Angel versus Death. It's getting very close, I can tell you. Here we are then on board with the Mercedes driver. He's going to breeze past with DRS and the overtake. It takes P13 then. Angel versus Death having a little look at the inside, but he's not going to be able to do anything from there. And Dom will make the move. I don't think he's going to catch Blair Grills in the last couple laps. It's a pretty substantial gap. Meanwhile, we've got a little battle here between Sir Tom Pegg and Red Bull Kim. It's an interesting little scrap towards the back of the field.
These two have been going at it for quite a few laps now. Once again into turn 4. What a great battle these two are having. Indecisive's gone off again. He's really been cutting the grass in that Williams in this race.
He'll be putting Valtteri Bottas out of a job if he keeps that up.
Yeah.
There is the Williams just slowing, going back up to speed. But yeah, these two, Sir Tom Penguin and Red Bull Kim, have been going at it all race. I think Sir Tom Penguin actually made the move on the inside of Red Bull Kim and went off the road, and he's managed to recover and get back up to the back of the Haas and looks to be taken off from him now, having made the position. But we're going to go back to the front because Jordan is within a second. He's going to have DRS for the final lap of the race. Is he going to be close enough though? Remains to be seen. But here we are on the final lap of the race, and it looks like it's Mike versus Jordan for the race win.
Well, you would imagine that Jordan's engineer will be on the phone to him saying there's really no need to go for a crazy move here. The last thing he needs to do here is cause any sort of incident.
But I think it could be a case of pride. If you want to win a race, you want to win it on merit by being the first car across the line. And he's got a good run here, I tell you. He's closing right up to the inside of the Ferrari, but he doesn't go for the move. He sits back. Maybe discretion is the greater part of valor. Mike's obviously got a penalty or two. Jordan does not. And he will possibly sit back and just follow him home and take the victory. So the final few corners of this hectic Austrian Grand Prix, it's Mike Noon in the Ferrari who leads. He's going to come towards the last couple of corners now. We've got Williams just in front, but that shouldn't be an issue. He should be out of the way. Mike Noon will come across the final corner, picks up another penalty, so it's definitely out of the bout now. And it's actually going to be a little drag race to the line. Mike crosses the line first, but the win goes to Jordan in the AlphaTauri. Second place for Alistair. Does Owen steal the podium? No, he doesn't. He takes P4. Joe will come across the line in 5th, followed by the other racing point of Neljak in 6th. Basil will come home in P7 for Red Bull, ahead of Camo Babo, championship leader in 8th, who actually gets promoted to 7th. Basil drops to 8th. Mr. John demotes Jack to 10th by taking P9. Jacko will come across the line in P11. Sort of drifted off towards the end of the race compared to his teammate. They were together on track at one point. Then we got Blair Grills coming across the line in 12th. The fastest lap set by Dom Smith in the Mercedes. A rotten race for him. Pace showing what could have been. He takes P13. Angel versus Death followed by in P14, which is promoted to 13th due to a penalty for Dom for, I believe, he picked up a corner cut penalty, and then the two still going on it. Serton Penguin and Red Bull Kim crossing the line together. Red Bull Kim wins the battle due to a penalty for Serton Penguin. I believe he got for speeding in the pits. Driver of the day again, the AlphaTauri, Mr. John. Every time I commentate, it's an AlphaTauri getting driver of the day, I tell you.
Well, fair play to Mr. John, considering he had that moment as well with the pit lane, and look at that, an AlphaTauri driver on the top step of the podium. That seems familiar.
That makes too familiar. The surprising thing is the Renault and the Ferrari on the podium with him, but of course not quite the realistic performance. All cars equal, of course, but it's Jordan winning the race then for AlphaTauri and potentially taking the championship lead. The gap was 15 points, and I think he might just have the lead now. So we'll run down the order then. Jordan wins for pole in AlphaTauri, but it wasn't as easy as it looked. Alistair Bain, P2. His run of wins comes to an end ahead of Mike Noon, who crossed the line first but had some penalties. Owen in P4 in the racing point. A good drive through the field for Joe Sayer and for Neljak. P5 and P6 for 11th, 12th for the grid. Camo Babo, a decent recovery considering he was off the field in the turn 1. He takes 7th, 8th for Bazza, 9th for John, 10th for Jack. Jacko returns at P11, head of Blair Grills, Angel versus Death, Dom Smith, Red Bull Kim and Sir Tom Penguin. Just the one retirement in the race, and that was Indecisive Mackie. He retired at the end of the Grand Prix.
So I think Jordan does take the lead of the championship, John. I think he's on the 166 points once again. As I always say, this is not official. This is my maths. This is not official. But Jordan is on 166 points. I think Camo Babo's on 164. And we've got Alistair on 158 and Owen on 151. So it's fantastically close to the top 4. And then Mike Noon on 119 and Jack on 114. That's what I'm pretty sure is the standings after that race.
So awfully close at the top, getting tighter and tighter each round. I think definitely happiest of that will be Jordan. I believe that was his second win of the season as well, so he is the 4th driver this season to have multiple wins. In fact, the top 4 are the 4 with multiple wins. And I did spot this, I know this is not TGP related, but I did spot this just before the race begun, a tweet from Sergio Perez. I do believe he's leaving Racing Point in real life, and that will open the door surely for Sebastian Vettel.
Well, indeed, yes. So big news in the real F1 world. Just having a look at the chat in the of this stream, and obviously a few comments about the penalties, and apparently we turned into Sky Sports News there, John. Could be the next Jim White. And we've got Demi, who has congratulated John, who I believe is his girlfriend, I think I'm right in saying.
I believe so.
She's obviously very happy with this result, as you would expect. Wonder if the Prime Minister will be calling John.
That remains to be seen, I think. But we are shortly getting underway at what some would say is the home of Formula One, the British Grand Prix from the Silverstone circuit. Of course, the first ever race began here in 1950, won by Giuseppe Farina, who will join the likes of him on the top step, well, with their name in the history books as the winner of the British Grand Prix, as we prepare for qualifying for round 12 of TGP2 season 26 here at the British Grand Prix.
And I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying, John, that we have not actually had rain at any stage of this season so far. So I suppose if there's any race where we might see a bit of rain at some point, Silverstone will probably be one that's a certain possibility.
Well, if it suddenly starts raining, we know who to blame for the commentator's curse. And it is Britain in the summertime, that normally is a given. As we now get ready for 18 minutes of qualifying then. Here we go.
Let's see then, rain or no rain? That is the question.
Well,
no,
blue skies
sunny.
tell me something completely different. It's a dry qualifying session here then, as we begin the qualifying for round 12 of the season. Yep. I had to think about what I was saying for a moment there, but that is correct.
Officially in the second half now of this season, and just 15 points, I believe, separate the top four in the championship.
We wait for the cars to go onto the circuit. Two in formation there, Ferrari and Mercedes. They're not going to be the first car on track though. I think it's going to be yet again, just like in Austria, the Haas of Red Bull Kim.
Yeah, we love Red Bull Kim, don't we? John is a great personality to TGP.
Absolutely, very lively character, and he will be the first one to set a qualifying time in this qualifying session. And Dan, I think once we get round to the start line, you can give a lap of the British Grand Prix circuit.
Okay,
if you're feeling up for it.
I'm not as good as Roy on these hot lap commentaries, but I will give it a go. There's ever a time where Mr. Roy Scorer was needed. Right now is probably that time, but anyway, yeah, well, on Red Bull Kim's lap, yeah, we will watch.
Yep.
It's on his own lap, obviously, at the minute.
Yeah, just coming through cops. Obviously, one of the fastest corners on the Canada, and then this brilliant sequence: Maggots, Beckett, and then Chapel, bringing you down to the hangar straight towards the Stowe corner. I've seen the cars go through there in real life, and they are a sight to behold. They are so quick. The directional change is astounding. I don't think the TV screens that really give it a sense of justice, but
yeah,
it's just crazy. I think I was there for FP3 last year, but here we are then. Anyway, a lap of Silverstone.
There he goes then, he's starting the lap. Obviously, yeah, did last year. This is where you would have DRS, not now, as he gets into Abbey, into turn 1, flat out all the way here. You're not hitting the brakes. It's about now to stamp on the brakes here as you approach the loop, which is a very difficult corner, especially if you're in a Williams, as I found out in this game a few weeks ago, into Aintree, which is just a few minutes away from where I live, incidentally. Down the Wellington Straight, getting ready once again now, approach the end of the first sector. This horrible, awkward left-hander as you approach Luffield, then into the right, slowly get it round, try and get as much power on exit. Don't run too well into the gravel, which he has not done. This is the old pit straight, of course. used up until 2009, I think it was, wasn't it, for the start of the race? And
Yes.
then here we go, into Cobbs. Amazing, look at that. It's not nowhere near the curb or anything like that though. I'm pretty sure he was flat though. Anyway, into Maggots. Beckett. This is all flat. Oh, he's invalidated his lap. He's messed that up slightly as he approaches Chapel, and he would have then got ready to deploy his DRS for the second time. But this is not going to happen for Red Bull Kim on this lap down the hang straight. And obviously the amazing Stowe corner, which I think you can just sort of, I don't know if put all four wheels off, but you can get very close to it. As of course, instead of going around the final chicane, he comes into the pit lane.
I didn't want to interrupt you during that lap, but we did have a major development. The third place finisher in the previous race, Mike Noon, has crashed out of the session on the exit of Abbey. I think he's lost the back end, and it spun him out into the infield and into the barriers, and the session's over for the Ferrari. He will be starting up the back of the grid, which is a disaster for him, as he's... Oh, we've got Alistair off as well. Alistair on the exit of Cops.
He is, yeah. And
there's a Williams as well. What has happened there? That isn't decisive.
It isn't decisive. What is going on?
And I spotted a McLaren go off as well at the same corner as Mike, so... Tricky competitions.
Dom's invalidated on his first lap, so they're obviously struggling quite a bit. Jordan isn't struggling, look at that. First place on the mediums.
Jordan really making a statement here tonight. Looking for his second pole in a row. Looking for his second win in a row as well. And he sets a 1:25.7. He's half a second clear of Jack. And he's on the mediums. Jack was on the softs. That's a brilliant time from the AlphaTauri driver. And we believe new championship leader. We'll see if anyone else is on the lap. We've got Joe coming around the final quarter then.
Kamababa was on a lap, and then I think he backed off, which is why he's on a 1:32 at the minute. Here's Owen as he is approaching the final chicane into club. And here we go. What can he do on his first lap? He's on the soft tyres. Can he trouble Jordan? He can't. Wow, Jordan really showing some good early pace.
Takes PT there, Owen. On the front row as it stands for now on a racing point, just ahead of Jack. But only 8 cars have completed laps so far. Only 7 representative. And it does seem quite tricky out there today. We've had 3 cars come in already instead of having finished laps. In fact, Alistair go off. I think it must have been Blair Grills who went off as well if Camo Babo stayed on the track, because I did see a McLaren off at the exit of turn 1 on the track map at the same time as Mike. Not exactly the same time as in they've had a collision, but more so they've both made the same mistake and gone off just after each other.
And Camo Babo goes second, but that is his second run on these tyres though, on these soft tyres. He's very close to Jordan's time, so looks like he can certainly take the fight to pole. Once he gets another fresh set on, he seems very quick.
Indeed, but I think the question for a lot of the guys is, how do you compete with Jordan? He probably will have a good 5 or 6 attempts to find still when he goes on the soft tyre. He could potentially steal a 1:24, which for Silverstone is staggering really. It's quite close to the times they were setting back at the old layout, which we had till 2009. Obviously they moved the start line in 2011. 2010 they still started up before Cops, but the circuit had reconfigured. Right, I didn't want to interrupt you in your thing, because obviously the lap 1 Lewis Hamilton just accidentally tagging the back of Sebastian Vettel's rear right and giving it a puncture, which the stewards deemed no further action at the time. And I remember Maggots and Beckett's being a bit weird as well. I'm sure.
I'm sorry, John, but look at Jordan. Jordan is once again flying on the medium tyres. He's just gone purple second there. I think he's going to improve once again here.
On board with the AlphaTauri then into the last couple of quarters, and it's an improvement of another third of a second. He's 3 attempts clear now on the slower tyre. That is a huge advantage for the AlphaTauri driver, and I think a lot of people will be looking at that one and just feeling their chances of victory going out the window.
It's a long way to go. Anything can happen, as you mentioned in the last race, of course. as some more drivers begin to start the second runs at the minute. Do we have Dom out there? Yes,
Yep.
Dom's on a lap.
We're on board with Dom right now.
He'll be so disappointed only with how that Austria race went for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought he might have had a chance of just nicking a podium in that race, but all went wrong right from the offset for him. Did pick up fastest lap, and I think he just squeezed into the points, which meant he would have got the point for the fastest lap as well.
Yeah.
So a small bit of damage limitation for him, but not where he would have expected to be. We've got a yellow in sector 2.
Blur grills at is that at Cops? It is at Cops.
It is the exit of Cops again. And
Dom's going to be approaching that now. No, Dom's way past that, sorry.
No, Dom was just ahead of him just beforehand. Dom was the car in front of that McLaren. Dom's continued on anyway. Wouldn't have been affected by the yellow flag as he comes to the final corners rather. He comes to the last corner now, and he goes P6, just ahead of Angel versus Death, just behind Jacko and Jack Pearson. Decent lap for him. He probably want a little bit more though.
Yeah, you would imagine so. Here comes Alistair then as he's about to finish his lap, his first run. Of course, he went off last time round, didn't he? So this is his first proper lap, and he goes second. Oh, look at that.
7 thousandths of a second.
On the soft tyres, though, of course, Alistair.
Yes, and it's just an astonishing lap on the medium by Jordan. Of course, that lap was also certainly second lap on him, not the first.
Yeah. Jack Pearson was on a lap, but guess what, folks? He's invalidated, so he's going to have to, well, most likely he will come in and he will try again with 8 minutes to go in this session. Got more than enough time, even with that incredibly slow pit lane as that we have around here.
We've got Owen on a lap now. He's got the Alpha from Mayo of Sir Tom Penguin in front of him. Hopefully the Alpha does realise and just pull to the side. He does so, that's good. I don't think it would have held Owen up too much as he comes towards the first sector time now, and he's ever so slightly up on his previous best, but he's got to find 3/4 of a second if he wants to challenge Jordan.
Well, he's fourth in the championship. He is only 15 points off, and let's see what he can do then. Into Cops, flat out, obviously. Look at that. Oh, it looks so satisfying. There we go. What a great camera angle this is. Obviously, I'm not sure if it's the same camera angle as myself right now, but I can assure you it looks excellent.
I think I changed to it just in time, as Owen seems to go purple in sector 2, but he's only 3.5 tenths up at his previous best, and at the moment that line just put him ahead of Camo Babbo in third. Let's see what he can do in the final sector then, coming towards the last few corners.
There we go.
Looks nice and
All
tidy.
good on traction. Looks nice, yep. Is this going to be pole?
It's P3.
Third then. And look who's coming out the pit lane. Well, he's not out the pit lane actually. It says out lap, but he's actually about to start approaching the hangar straight. Jordan is about to go for his first run in this quali session on the soft tyres. Camo crashed at Cops. Well, that is huge for the championship. He will not start this race any higher than 4th.
It looks like he's gone off backwards as well. The car's pointing the wrong way. I've just seen it on board with Joe Sayer, who's currently P8 on a lap. Looks like a in lap, but yep, the McLaren's really having difficulty at Cops. Both of them have gone off there.
Well, I mean, we've already seen a lot of instances in this quality session, which makes you think that we could have quite a chaotic race, John.
Yes, indeed. It seems that the old circuit is full of tricks still, and drivers are getting a bit caught out by it. I know Cops, for example, can be very twitchy on the back end if you don't get the line quite right. We're on board with Jordan now anyway, who's going to be coming to that in a minute. He's just under a tenth up on his first sector time.
That's not as much as an improvement as I would imagine on going from the medium to the softs in that first sector, John.
No, I would have expected a couple of attempts, but I think most of it's going to be picked up in the middle sector, especially Maggots and Beckett and Cops here. Jordan, flat in the throttle, nice and tidy. no little moments of snappy steering or anything like that. It's just very calm, smooth and quick as he comes towards the sector 2.9 now, and there we go, 4 temps up. So I was expecting maybe a little bit more. I did say 5 or 6 temps, and I think if he finds time in the last sector it will get to about that. But
I think he's almost certainly going to be getting into the 24s on this lap, without
question. As he comes towards the last corner, it takes quite a bit of curb on the inside, but it doesn't cause any issues, and he goes 1:24.746. He's 2/3 of a second clear of Alistair, who's on an out lap. That is ruthless. That is just absolute dominance in this session by the AlphaTauri driver, who will be looking to make it a double victory, just like Alistair did last week. He's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking very good for him at this moment in time. But here's Alistair starting his lap with 4 minutes to go, and I highly doubt he's going to be able to get back to the pit lane in time after this lap. So this is going to be it for him, I imagine. What were we about to say there, John? Sorry?
I'm just on board with Jack, who's half a second up on his previous best in sector 1, so he's absolutely going for it now. He was a little bit wide into Cops, looked like didn't quite catch the apex, but he's kept it within the track. He's still on for the lap, and
what were you saying?
I will say drink for that one.
Yeah,
here we are then with Alistair. Alistair's get a little bit of a cheeky toe from Dom there in the Mercedes, who lets him go by. Let's see what Alistair can do then, just a little bit further behind on the track compared to Jack. Here we are then, Maggots and Beckett. Just see the sweeping speed of the cars as they get through there.
Alistair, and he's up, he's purple sector 2.
We've got a yellow just behind. I think we've got a that's just Dom. It's just Dom backing off. He's purple, but it's only a 10th up. I don't think
on his lap. Yeah. So let's see how it's kill their final corners here. Let's see.
A little bit twitchy on the exit of that corner. He only gains a 10th.
Wow.
Stays P2.
I'm surprised by how big this gap is from first to second here. Got to say, Baba won't even get to do a final run, of course.
Owen's in the pit, Jordan's in the pit, Alistair looks to be done for the session, Jack's in the pit. The only ones on a lap at the moment are Dom and Joe, 7th and 8th. We're on board with Joe in the Ferrari, who's currently P8, 2 seconds off. But he's on his final run.
Jordan, Owen and Jack should all get back out in time.
I can see 2 cars are exiting the pit lane now.
If you leave the pit lane now,
I do believe that's a Racing Point and a Mercedes, so that's got to be P3 and P5, Owen and Jack. Owen on an out lap. Joe just having a weave through traffic there. We've got a McLaren and a Williams.
Well, I was just about to mention, I was watching Dom and I was about to say he was approaching a load of traffic, didn't we? Oh, he's going to catch up to the McLaren right at Cops, Dom. Wow. Well, that could have been a mother and father of a shout there, but just avoids it, thank goodness.
Joe's just invalidated his lap up Beckett, and Joe was off the pace anyway. I think Dom might also be off the pace due to that, but no, he's actually fallen nearly half a second up at his previous best.
Wow.
And if he does that, he will take P6 ahead of Jacko. So this is an interesting one then. Can Dom keep the gap? It's very wide into Stowe. He does keep it on the track as he comes to the final corner. Jack meanwhile has just gone up to P7, so a good lap for him. Quietly under the radar, but Dom does take P6, just a 10th of his teammate. Dom definitely having a good night of things in terms of qualifying. Indecisive retires from the session, but we've got 1st, 3rd and 5th out on the track. Jordan, Owen, Jack. It looks like Owen's going to be the first. Owen's going to be first across the line.
And then it'll be Jack. It'll be Jordan, will it?
It will be.
No, Jack's ahead. Jack's ahead.
Jacko has just gone P5.
He's just gone 5th, yeah.
Just leapt above the Mercedes, so that's a brilliant lap from the Red Bull driver on his return to TGP2. Jordan's now started a lap as well, so we're on board with Owen. 9
Just
tenths
very
off at the
quickly,
moment.
just as you're watching those laps with the front guys, Bazza also looks like he's on a quick lap. I've noticed he's invalidated his previous one. It looked like he's on for a decent one. See where he can improve up to here. He could go quite high up. He goes 5th.
9 thousandths ahead of his teammate. So Red Bull coming on strong at the end of the session. We'll go back to Owen though. On a lap, he's narrowly quicker in sector 1, not by much.
And Jordan goes purple in sector 1.
Keeping on board with 3 cars at once, it's going to be tricky. We're going to keep an eye on Owen though. He'll be first across the line, followed by Jack, then by Jordan. The racing point coming through Maggins and Beckett's now. Looks to be keeping it valid. He's a little bit deep into Chapel, but I think he'll get away with that. But he's only a 10th up. It's not going to trouble Alistair in P2. He's going to be staying where he is in 3rd, as Dom Smith retires on the session in P8.
And Jordan's 2 tenths up, by the way. Jack is half a second up. Obviously, this is on their respective laps, not on for Jack anyway, not on the race leader. Where's Owen going to go?
Owen comes across the line then, and he stays P3. Jack goes to P3. He just steals it by a 10th of a second. A solid lap at the end there for Jack, but here's Jordan, and he just slams home the margin. Nearly 3/4 of a second clear there. A dominant pole position for the AlphaTauri driver and new championship leader. And that is the British Grand Prix qualifying concluded. Jordan on pole again. 2 in a row. 2 for the night. It's looking good to set the perfect evening.
Yeah, what a great night he is having. And of course, the guy just 2 points behind him, 5th, running through the results, John.
Yep, so we have Jordan on pole again in the AlphaTauri, ahead of Alistair in P2, Jack in P3 for the Mercedes, ahead of Owen in 4th, Camo Babo in 5th, Bazza and Jacko, the Red Bulls, 6th and 7th, ahead of Dom in 8th, now Jack 9th, 10th for Saya Sports, Angel first is Stefan, but a decent P11, ahead of Sir Tom Peregrine, Mr. John, Red Bull Kim in 14th, Blair Grills, Mike Noon and Indecisive, all failing to set lap times.
Well, obviously after the Austria race, when Owen got him when Mike Noon, I always get these when Mike Noon was on the front row, we said to watch him at the start, and he got into the lead. Can't wait to see what he can do from the back this time round, John.
Yep, indeed, and it's a dry one for Silverstone as well. It's going to be interesting to see what Mike can do from the back of the grid. We saw the pace he had in Austria. Can he replicate that here at Silverstone? We're about to find out shortly. Can Jordan make it 2 for the night and win the British Grand Prix from pole? Can Alistair do something? Could Camo Babo stage a fight back? Could Owen take another win? We are just 15 seconds away then from the start of the British Grand Prix.
This has got to be Jack's best opportunity in a while to finally get a race win as well this season, John.
Yeah, absolutely. He's crossed the line first twice. He hasn't been given any of the wins due to penalties. Can he make it 3rd time lucky? We'll see, as lights are now up as we get underway. And lights are out, we are go. It's a jump start for Mike Noon immediately, but it's a solid start for Jordan, who takes the lead into turn 1, tucks in ahead of Alistair, who will sit back in 2nd. Jack's still there in 3rd. Owen looks to be there in 4th. A good start for Bazza. He looks like he's jumped Camo Babo, but he's having a look back on the inside. Meanwhile, Dom's dropped a... Oh, it's all moving about in the midfield.
Got very tight towards the back. I think
we got a Mercedes off. We got a Mercedes off, and it's a contact, and it's a safety car.
The road, and it's a safety car. Well, it's the shades of 2014 with Kimi Räikkönen. He just lost it, didn't he? They sort of stuck together. I think briefly, Dom and Joe, Saya Sports, and then Dom went off wide, didn't he, and spun back onto the track.
Very reminiscent of. Like you said, Räikkönen in 2014 at Silverstone runs wide, or coming out the loop down the Wellington Straight and spears across the road, hit the side of a racing point. I think it was now Jack, so he'll be lucky to get away without any damage. But as you can see, position changes just there. Just Dom and Sir Tom Peregrine dropping down, a few making gains early on. Bazza did jump Camo Babo though, but the safety car is out. Mike on the medium tyres. Oh, that's the disaster for him. He's got a jump start. He's on the wrong tyres,
and he's got
the
a
safety
jump
car's
start,
come
yeah.
out on the first
Absolute
lap.
disaster for Mike Noon.
But interested to see if anyone comes in.
Jordan
Dummies!
just sold the dummy. And
But is that the
Alistair's
right
coming in
idea? Because
well.
look, everyone else is coming in. Alistair's in, Jack's in, Owen, Bazza, Camo Babo. We've got the Ferrari there. I think that's Joe. He's in too. The second
Well,
racing point comes in.
This reminds me of Azerbaijan when Jordan stayed out under safety car. He's certain where the drivers could have pitted. He tried to sell them the dummy. Yeah, but he is staying out.
Potential free pit stop to some of the others, but thankfully that isn't the case.
Well, they come then out the pit lane. Alistair will be mediums. We've got a big switch of tyres. Hards on hards, Owens on mediums in 8th. Camo Babo pitted his intent on mediums, and then you got Nell Jack on hards, just John on hards, Joe Sale on hards, Blake Girls mediums for sits on Penguin, hards for Mike Noon. After of course he started on mediums, didn't he? And Dom on the hards as well. So mixture of tyre choices here with this early stops.
Yeah, very interesting mix as well. It's about half and half, so it remains to be seen what the tyre life is like. I do believe the hards would easily make it to the end, but will the medium tyres? That's going to be very interesting. Meanwhile, we have 5 cars yet to pit. Jordan, Jacko, Angel vs Steph, Red Bull Kim and Indecisive. As the field are already caught up. Alistair's already caught up. Jack, they're all together already.
Yeah, so obviously Jordan stayed out. Of course, Jacko. I wonder if Jacko stayed out only because Bazza was ahead and Bazza pitted. So possibly Jacko will come into the pit lane here. Both of the Williams stayed out, which
Jordan pits.
Jordan comes in now. What? Well, and nobody else comes in, so Jacko stays out. Jacko, on his return to TGP, will lead this race at the restart. Jordan, well, so has Jordan done this because he suddenly thought, oh goodness me, they've all pitted? Or is this intentional? Surely it's not intentional to wait for the second lap to pit.
This is
incredible. The championship leader's going to be going probably to the back.
Just like that, the championship turns on its head again, and it's just like you said in qualifying, don't count it out so soon. Jordan had the pace advantage, was dominant in qualifying, but a odd strategy decision means he's now 16th out of 17 runners at the 3rd lap.
Wow. And he's gone onto the hard tyres as well. Considering he's doing a lap less than everybody else now on these tyres, maybe... Well, I mean, I suppose it would have been easier for him to go on the mediums, certainly to get to the end compared to the ones that chose mediums on the first lap. But wow, what a brilliant order we've got here for this restart. Jacko is leading. Sorry, John, go on.
No, you carry on. Jacko in the lead indeed.
Yeah, Angel versus Death right there. Red Bull Kim will be in 3rd place at this restart. Indecisive as well in the Austria race. His head might be spinning at how high up he is at this stage here, but who knows, if he could easily pull off a great result from this position. I suppose. It's up the pit.
Yeah, of course these 4 have yet to pit. Safety car doing an interesting line through cuts, seems to be cutting the grass a little bit on the onboard camera. The floor camera. I always say on board when it's not on board, I don't know why, but Jacko then will lead the field away on the restart. The safety car, if it's coming in, we're about to find out now when it hits the sector 2 split, which is right now, and there we go. Safety car in this lap, so Jacko becomes the effective safety car. He will back this field up, and he has the right to decide when to gun it and to start the race off again. This will back the field up nicely. Of course, Dom did get a 5-second penalty for the incident on lap 1, but I believe you can serve that under a safety car, so Dom would have served that and is back on the field on merit. Let's see what that Mercedes can do at the back as well, but Jacko leads the field on the restart. Mike's collided with Serton Penguin by the looks of it. Jacko decides to go now. And it looks like he's got a good restart. It looks like he pulled away a little bit from the Williams. We've got Red Bull Kim in third. Then he got Indecisive. Alistair very close on the restart to the back of Indecisive. Oh, excuse me, Indecisive, but he didn't make the move. It's going to be interesting to see what these cars are going to do.
Going to want to get this move done ASAP. Only Jack was right there as well. This is essentially the net leader. Alistair, as he gets so close to the back of Indecisive, the last thing he needs here is any sort of incident. Jack Pearson might pounce though.
Oh, we're almost 3 wide into at the end of the winning straight there, but there we go. Alistair and Jack both through on Indecisive.
And Jack got him. Yeah.
And Owen's through as well.
Yeah, Indecisive gets an armful of opposite lock there, which has allowed Owen to get through. So Jacko still leads this race. Then it's still Angel vs Death, and it's still Red Bull Kim third. Alistair though now up into 4th place, and they are quickly capturing the top 3.
Yes, this is a good opportunity here. Alistair, the effective race leader now. We're ahead of Jack and Owen. This is a great opportunity for Jack. We were saying about it before the race. Meanwhile, Bazza just gets the move done on Indecisive. Kamababo is also through on the Williams.
Will Alex go for it as well? I wonder on Indecisive. Now Alistair's just a bit too far back to have a go at Red Bull Kim this time round. I wonder if he won't fancy a dab one, will he? Oh, he thought about it as he was approaching Intervale, but decided to go against it.
I could tell you that now Jack did make the move in Indecisive. He went clean around the outside of him at Stowe. Beautiful move there by the Racing Point driver. Alistair down the inside of Red Bull Kim into Abbey, turn 1. Red Bull Kim is off the track. Let's be careful here, don't cause contact. It's all.
And Jack's going through as well.
They keep it clean. Owen's there. Let's hope that Red Bull Kim just stays out the way a little bit. No, he doesn't. It's a spin for the Haas. I think he got opposite lock and it tagged him into the side of the Racing Point.
Just drove into the side of Owen. It's obviously it's not Owen's fault at all. But Red Bull Kim will drop to pretty much the back. We've got Blair Grills in the pit lane and Mike Noon in the pit lane. I assume Mike Noon was saving his drive through, was he? Blair Grills, I'm not sure why he was doing it. Maybe he got drive through as well. But yeah. Jacko still ahead from Angel vs Death, who you can see is incredibly low on ERS because you can see his red light flashing, and we'll see how quick Alistair can get to the back of him.
Yep, Angel vs Death is out of ERS for the lap. Alistair closing in 1.4 the gap, but Jack and Owen are in DRS range. Bazza is actually just about holding on with Karo Babo, and now Jack's sort of being towed along, but not quite in the DRS. Of course, the DRS activates at the start of the next lap. Not this lap, so you won't see the cars flying up to the back of each other. But the majority of, well, half of the non-stoppers are out of the way for the cars that have already pitted. It's just Jacko and Angel versus Death.
Just seeing a bit of team orders there. As Miss John getting out of the way for Jordan, who is down in 11th right now. Alistair is in 3rd. Jordan is 11th.
Alistair was having a look at the inside of Angel vs Death into Abbey, but decided against it. He's going to have the DRS now. Jack's still there, so's Owen. As Camo Babo now gets a 3-second penalty, but here we are now on board with Dorado, having a look down towards the Williams. Does he make the move? No, he does not. I think Angel vs Death, of course he does. He has the overtake ramped up, but he runs deep. I always get this wrong. I think this is Woodcote into Lovefield or the other way round, but Alistair down the inside. Does he make the move?
He's staying there. Angel vs Death staying there. He's got his overtake still. He's going to totally drain it, and Alistair will get through.
Brilliant stuff there from Alistair. Good, important move to make the position. Gets a car between himself and the chasing pack. But of course,
it probably won't be for too long though, because Alistair, Angel vs Death has pretty much no overtake here. He will have DRS though, but you would expect surely Jack Pearson to sail through here at this point.
I think the Mercedes has engaged its party mode as he makes the move. Gets a penalty though. Oh, Jack.
I think a penalty there. Did he cut?
I think he had 2 wheels.
The entry of Stowe a little bit?
The entry of Stowe, yep. So it's a penalty for Jack. That's not good for him. Alistair sets the fastest lap at a 1:28.7. He's going to quickly go about cutting the lead down to Jacko. It was 3 seconds between himself and Angel versus Death on the previous lap. It's now 2.3 between himself and Alistair. Jack is out of DRS. Angel versus Death was trying a little move down the inside there, but that wasn't going to work, as Owen's still stuck behind the Williams as well. He's going to try and get him. Importantly, the ERS on Angel vs Steph is almost empty, as Jordan makes his way up to 9th, passing indecisive Mackie. Camu Babo makes the move on Bazza for P6, so we got some overtakes going on down the order. Red Bull Kim in the pits at the back of the field. He had to make a stop, of course, but Camo Babo up to P6, importantly ahead of Jordan. Owen down the inside of Angel vs Steph into Cops, makes the move.
And he's got it, but Angel vs Steph might have a run back through here into Maggots and Beckett's. This is incredibly risky, and well, eventually he had to back out of it. And Owen keeps the position into 4th then.
Definitely not a move I would be willing to make into that corner. It's very nearly one-way traffic through there, as Camo Babo passes Angel vs Steph now as well. We've got yellows, we've got a Williams off, it's indecisive. That would drop him down the order. Jacko now pits from the lead, so Alistair will now inherit the race lead from Jack, then Owen, then Camo Babo in 4th.
Yep, so Jordan then will, obviously, of course, as he overtakes Jacko here, he will go up into 7th place. He's just set the fastest lap as well, but there's just one problem. He's 6.6 seconds off the leader, and he's got to overtake 6 cars to lead this race now. But he dominated qualifying, didn't he? So if he's got the pace, let's see where he can finish.
It's important to point out of those 6 cars, one of them still got a pit. So
yeah, that's true.
It's going to be 5 cars in 6 laps. Can he do it? He's got good pace, but can he somehow make his way through to the podium at least? You've got 2 cars fighting in front. That's Bazza and Angel vs Steph. Of course, Angel vs Steph yet to pit. Bazza in the Red Bull. It's been a bit held up by the Williams. He's lost touch to Camo Babo, who only passed him at the start of the previous lap, but he's now pretty much 3 seconds clear. Bazza's also gone wide. Jordan's actually going to have a look at it into Maggots and Beckett's. That's brave stuff if he makes it, and he goes for it, and he makes it stick. A strong move there, but he gets a penalty in the process.
Well. I mean, Camo Babo, of course, also has a penalty, doesn't he, at this stage, though, of course. And Alistair and Owen, I believe, are on the fringes of getting a penalty. Jack has a penalty, of course, as we discovered earlier on. It's going to be interesting this stage of the race now. We're on lap 8 already, amazingly. Lap 9 now. Of course, what is going to... Jack is on those hard tyres. If those medium tyres do start to go off, there is a chance Jack could go into the lead yet. He would have to then make 3 seconds up, though.
Indeed he would, and as we've seen, it's very tricky to really put away here because it's so much high speed, full throttle. You can't, there's not really many areas where you can really put a gap in the corners, and the slipstream tells you along the DRS you've always sort of got a car on your tail at any time, as Jordan makes the move there on Angel vs Steph to take P5. He might be able to pull a 3-second gap to Bazza, because Bazza's still stuck behind that Williams. Of course, Angel vs Steph does need to pit, but Jordan is already 1.2 clear of the car that will inherit 6th position. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. That's Blair Grills off at the exit of Abbey. He will recover from there. He's not out of the race. Meanwhile, Camo Babo is closing on Owen. He will get DRS. Owen's got DRS low on Jack, and Jack is not keeping up with Alistair. Alistair looking good to get his 4th win of the season and his 3rd win in 4 races.
You have to say at this stage then it does look like medium tyres are probably the right way to go, as Angel vs Steph finally comes in to the pit lane and then gets a penalty for doing such at a fast rate of knots. But look at this, Owen now half a second behind Jack for 2nd place.
A penalty for Bazza there in P6 as well, so that's going to help Jordan, who has a 3-second penalty. That's going to give him some breathing space, because he is 3 seconds clear of now Jack in 7th, so he should hold on to P5 there at the end of the race as it stands, which is a fairly solid recovery job, but a recovery job that shouldn't have happened really. Meanwhile, Jack over 2 seconds down on Alistair now, and we've got a train here of 3 cars, 3 title contenders all together on the track. Well, yeah, Jack is the outsider, but he's still part of it. But
Yeah, I certainly, yeah. But of course, don't forget, Jack has this penalty. So effectively, right now, Owen is in second. Kamababa, of course, also has a free penalty. So he does very much need to get this move done on Jack.
It's all down to Alistair keeping it clean the last lap. He doesn't want to get a penalty, as Mike gets a penalty, 3 seconds. Obviously, if Alistair were to get one now and the gap stays as it is, Owen, for the second time this year, would finish the race in third and win due to penalties.
Kamababa is right behind, though, as you say, these three.
He's just had a moment. He just had a little tank slapper out the corner. Jack sets the fastest lap of the race. So I was saying Alistair was put it away. Jack's pulled it back in. Jacker gets a time penalty, but he should hold on to P12 as it stands. We are 3 laps away from the end of the race, into the final 3 laps. Alistair leads by 1.6. Jack is slowly closing a little bit. He's pulled about 4 temps out, and he's actually pulled away from Owen. And we got a yellow flag. It's Blair Grills.
He's retired in the pit lane.
That should be okay to continue. There should be no VSC or safety car. If there's a safety car now, I think that would probably be the end of the race.
Well,
although not always.
The gap really is closing, obviously, with Jack and Alistair, as you mentioned. But I do wonder if maybe Alistair's just because that a McLaren off the road? He's just retired? Yeah,
that's Blair Grills, yeah, that's Blair Grills tiring the pits.
But I just wonder maybe if Alistair's possibly just trying to relax and chill and not make an error, and most importantly, not cut a corner at this stage, because that's the last thing he needs at this moment in time.
Yeah, as Red Bull Kim flashes up for a penalty, I was just thinking there, were you on about it, and it's just flashed up as a curse, but no, it's not. The gap has sort of balanced itself out on this lap, sort of maintained 1.5, 1.6, so I think Alistair is just taking it easy, just going at 90% rather than 100, but of course, we've seen it before, you can just back it off a little bit and just have a lapse of concentration that can cost you. Meanwhile though, Kamababa sets the fastest lap as we come to the penultimate lap. Owen in P3 is struggling to keep up with the Mercedes in front, and this could allow the McLaren an opportunity to take the 3rd spot on the podium had it not been for the time penalty he has.
Indeed, yeah, you're very right about that. Mike Noonan, what a disastrous race this week for Mike Noonan to get to the penalty. He had the jump start, didn't he? Had such a great race in Austria, and it just fell apart here a little bit. Coming back right behind Owen, still can't find a way past.
And the gap at the top is dropped a little bit to 1.4. I can see a car in the background behind Kamababa, but it's too far back. That is actually Jordan, but Jordan's not going to be able to do anything from there. Kamababa is near enough on the back of that Racing Point's gearbox through
pushing
cops.
Pushing him round into cops.
We're definitely going to have a battle here for 3rd on the road. Owen just looks like he's struggling for pace. Maybe it is, I was about to say, maybe it is a case of the mediums dropping off a bit, but Kamababo's on mediums, Alistair's on mediums, they're all okay, so I think it's just Owen struggling for pace towards the end here. But
we're saying, of course, if Kamababa does get this move done, Owen will still pretty much be favoured to finish 2nd.
Yep.
As long as he doesn't go and pick up a penalty. As Alistair approaches the final lap of this race.
Gap is 1.3, so he's out of DRS, so he should be okay. Alistair obviously
he should be fine.
Obviously deciding to buy into Jordan's dummy on the safety car by going into the pits when Jordan dummy to stay out, and ultimately it's probably won in the race. The gap's down to 1.1, but it goes back to 1.3. I think that's just the way the corner is there. We've got the yellow in sector 2. It's a Williams again, but that should hopefully be cleared up by the time the leaders get here, because they're coming towards that area now.
The leaders are approaching, but I think they would probably ghost the driver. Yeah, I think it is going to go pretty much as Alistair. 1.2 seconds is the gap now. I'm just wondering if Kamababa might fancy having a go at some stage, because it is worth mentioning, if Alistair was to corner cut at some point in this final half of the final lap, Owen would get the win from the 3rd place, as you mentioned earlier.
Mike and Jack, I just got time penalties there. I think that's the first time I've mentioned about penalty, like the risk of Alistair potentially getting a penalty and then a penalty flashing up, but for someone else. But Alistair looks like he's had it all under control for the last few laps. He's coming towards Stowe for the final time now. 1.2 in the lead. Alistair Bain, twice last week a race winner. He's going to make it 3 from 4 for the season, and really throw himself into the title battle as he comes around the last corner now and takes victory here at the British Grand Prix. Jack crosses the line second, that becomes third as Owen takes P2, Jack P3, fourth for Camo Babo. Jordan with the fastest lap at the end there takes P5. We're going to have Bazza come home in 6th, just ahead of Nell Jack in 7th, but they swap round due to penalties. That's going to leave Joe Sayer in 8th. Therefore, we will be followed by Mr. John in 9th. Dom will round off the top 10 despite the massive accident on lap 1 that he was lucky not to DNF from. And then we got a battle behind. Mike and Jacko side by side. Come inside to get... Jacko's got off. He's split it round. Mike's got a penalty. He's also off. Jacko get it across the line before Sir Tom Penguin. He does. He takes P11. Sir Tom Penguin P13 with Mike in 12th. 14th for Angel versus Death. He's run out of fuel. And then we got indecisive Red Bull Kim, who will round off the finishers. And another victory then for Alistair. He's 4th for the season. And with Jordan making another tactical error today, the championship just keeps turning and twisting.
Well,
and it getting closer than ever.
I believe these are going to be the championship stands at the end of the night as we watch final couple of drivers approach the end of the race. At the minute, I believe after this race, Alistair does lead the championship now after this win. Another win. He's on 183 points. Then we've got Jordan on 177. Of course, he got the fastest lap in that race, did he not, John? Yeah, he did get the fastest lap. Yeah, so he is on 177. His driver of the day is Mike Newton. He got 100 penalties in a jump start, but okay. Jordan on 177. Camo Babo is on 176. And Owen is on 169. So nice stuff there with look how close it is. There is 14 points separating the top 4.
And tonight there was 15 points separating the top 2. So all 4, the top 4, all in that gap now. So it's getting very, very exciting here in TGP2 then. We've reached the beginning of the second half of the season. We've got a definite 4-way title fight between 4 drivers from 4 different teams. Very exciting stuff. And they just keep trading blow for blow. One race, one time, one wins. Next race, the other person wins. But a man in form though, Alistair Bain, takes his 3rd win in 4 races. I'm saying one wins one race, one wins the next. Alistair's won 3 of the last 4. He's the man in form really. He wins from Owen in 2nd, Jack in P3 ahead of Camo Babo, and Jordan 5th. So the top 5 in the championship are the top 5 in the race. Then you got Nell Jack, Bazza, Joe, Mr. John and Dom rounding off the top 10. Then you got Jacko in P11, who led briefly. Then you got Mike, Sir Tom Penguin, Angel vs Death, Indecisive, Red Bull Kim and the sole retirement Blair Grills. That brings the end of tonight's races. And who would you say is driver of the night then, Dan?
Well, I suppose you've got to say it's Alistair, hasn't it, for getting into the championship lead at this stage. But I just thinking, how different, obviously, as I say, Alistair 183, Jordan 177, Camo 176, Owen 169. How different those standings could sound if Jordan pitted on that first lap. Because Jordan really could have ended the night with a pretty big lead in the championship, but instead he's, 6 points behind Alistair.
It's crazy to think we've had from 7 o'clock to now 3 different leaders in the championship. We started the night with Camo Babo on top. Jordan took the lead after the first race, and after the second race it's now Alistair. So it really is just a case of fine margins really.
Yep, it's all to play for. All to play for in this brilliant championship.
And it will all be live on the TGPSeries channel for the remainder of the season. That brings the end to tonight's races. So from myself and Dan, have a good evening and be back next week for more of the same.